Schedule a Zoom with me at GCExperts.com/Zoom.
But you must be calling in response to my question.
Yes.
That was the question that I forgot to ask you when we were on the phone.
That's no problem. Do you want to just talk about it later?
Hell no. I got you on the phone, and I know one thing. You ain't probably the easiest person to get on the phone at my leisure. So since you said I can get you, I got you, brother. You can't run now.
I always feel like any question worth asking is worth a few minute discussion about the question. So
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about bid bonds, bonding, and all that kind of stuff. First of all, most people, when they say bonds, they're referring to, like, have you ever seen a situation, or can you imagine that if there's a Dr. Pepper can on the table and I say, Courtney, pass me that Coke, you know what I'm talking about, even though I didn't say the correct name, right?
Right.
Okay.
Especially in Texas.
So people talk about bonds, but what they're really talking about, they use that term generically. What they're really talking about is what's called payment and performance protection.
Yes.
Okay? There are 5 types of payment and performance protection. Bonds is one of them. Another one is irrevocable letter of credit. Another one is tripartite escrow agreement. Another one is cash. You can get a cashier's check. And another one is deed to property. If you own property that values the construction contract, you can actually turn that deed over to the federal government. They'll hold it till the end of the job, and then they'll give it back to you. But since you asked specifically about bonds, we're going to zero in on this. Bonding is the only type of insurance where the insurance company will only issue it if they believe that there is no risk. So let's talk about what that means. If you go get car insurance for that car you're about to go drive in for wherever you're going, the insurance company knows, based on your zip code, how much loss they're going to have on average every year. In other words, they go into writing you an insurance policy knowing that they're going to lose some money.
Right.
But bonding, they only go into the agreement if they believe that they will never lose money.
Exactly.
Okay.
I understand that.
Okay. So now let's talk about bid bonds, payment bonds, performance bonds, and payment and performance bonds.
Okay, hold on. Before you answer, my question is, are you about to explain to me what they are or how they work in this space? I understand what they are. I have to do them all the time on the state level. I'm just asking because of the fact that you remember I'm coming into this newfound knowledge because remember I'm one of the he's lying, you need a license guys, right? so respectfully. So that kind of okay, so I'm under the assumption that, let's say there's a $500,000 job replacing something, a hangar or something in an airport or whatever, you know, and they're like, okay, we require this bonds. Now, the federal government does require surety bonds or some sort of alternative, correct?
100%. Now, but you used the word require. So I'm going to refer you to FAR 36, Federal Acquisition Regulation 36, wherein it describes where it applies and where it doesn't apply. And but for the layman, here's what you need to know.
Okay.
Under $150,000, it is at the contracting officer's discretion.
Oh, goodness. Wow.
Okay. Above $150,000, it is required.
Okay.
There are exceptions, but that's the everyday layman's thing that he needs to know.
Okay, so that's a gold mine for the sub 150, right? And I know that covers a lot of stuff.
Of course it does.
So I guess since we're on the phone, can we focus on the, above 150? What's the opposite of sub? Sub is below. What's the opposite of sub? I don't know.
I don't know either. Above.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Dude, I'm a
150. Let's just go.
contractor, man. I'm not a fucking, attorney, teacher, fucking, I'm a contractor. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got a $250,000 app. I figured you knew what sub meant. I'm sorry. But anyway. All right. I'm taking shots. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Above 150,000, they're going to engage with payment and performance bonds. Under 150,000, it's at their discretion. But so obviously you get that from a surety.
Yeah.
You have to meet their requirements. I have a good surety guy out in Arizona.
That's kind of what I don't understand, right? So if the job on behalf of the surety company now, that's kind of what I was more getting to. Not just is it required by the federal, but if we're doing this job for $250,000 and well, I quoted $250,000 and they want to award me, and I went through the process and I found a guy who can do it for 108, right? Yep. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, okay, we need you to furnish these bonds. And then I reach out to, let's say, your surety guy. Mm-hmm. If I'm not, I guess if I'm not licensed in that area,
it has nothing to do with licenses. Remember, it has zero to do with licenses.
So surety bonds they'll still give me the surety bond if I don't have a license. Okay, correct. First of all, 100. Wow. Keep in mind, I've done $1 billion worth of work for the federal government. I have never had a license of any kind other than a driver's license. So that should answer your question right there. Okay. Can you imagine that if I did $1 billion worth of work, I bought a bond or two? Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've never had a license of any kind. Let's talk about what the bonding company looks at. Now, keep in mind, I'm not the world's greatest expert at understanding bonding. I've bought a lot of bonds over my career. I've answered a lot of questions. I have a better understanding than most people, so I'm going to, just set that up for you in that light. Okay? Okay. But basically, bonding is based on three things. It's based on your cash in the bank. It's based on your character, which they use your credit score to define your character. Mm-hmm. And it's based on your experience. Mm-hmm. Okay? Those three things come into factor. Now, that's the traditional three things that bonding is based on. But let's talk about a starter guy, a guy that's just now getting into federal government construction. What's the quick? They have a quick bonding program. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, quick out. The quick bonding program is based almost 100% on your credit score. Mm-hmm. And that changes, by the way. When the economy starts getting tight, like it is right now, your credit score has to be higher to get the quick bonding. And when the economy is just booming like crazy, I've heard stories of guys as low as 500 credit score can still get a bonding line, which makes sense, right? Because when the economy is booming, you can take more risk. Right. Okay? Right. But when the economy is tight, you want to shore up that risk. Wow. Okay. That is so I guess let's use me as an example, right? Okay, I'm just getting into federal
Okay,
government.
but don't tell me your actual credit score. Just tell me if it's
No,
above or below 680, because I can tell you which way to go based on that. Or do you want me to play both sides of the fence?
I think kind of the above 680 is kind of self-explanatory, but yeah, let's go with below.
Okay, let's just go both sides of the fence. If you're above 680, you get instantly approved for what's called a 250-500 program. Now, when I was young and coming up in this business, it used to be 200-400, but things have changed. Money's not the same value it was. So 250-500 means $250,000 single job size, $500,000 aggregate, meaning in total. So you could have two $250,000 jobs. You could have five $100,000 jobs. You could have eight $50,000 jobs. And what's neat about bonding is it works in the same way that a credit card works. In other words, if you finish one of those eight $50,000 jobs, it opens up that
bond line.
You got a bonding line for the 50,000. That's right.
Yeah.
So as you're billing your jobs, you're lessening the risk to the bonding company, and they open it up for you as you're finishing jobs. Okay.
Yep.
So you can typically roll your bonding limit about 4 times a year. So somebody with a 250-500 program could actually probably do about $2 million worth of work a year with that program.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's talk about sub 680. You can still bid federal contracts and you can still provide payment and performance protection. So FAR 28.102 describes those 5 types I was talking about, one of which is the tripartite escrow agreement. And if you Google tripartite escrow agreements, you'll find the guy Abel Carry-On that sells those. I've known him for 25 years. And I think his son is running the program now. But by the way, the son's name is Abel Carry-On Jr. But here's the thing about tripartite escrow agreements. You haven't been through my training, but I teach. I have a section of my training that's RFQs and RFPs. Okay. For RFQs, everything is negotiable prior to award. I want you to repeat that sentence. Everything is negotiable prior to award.
For RFQs, everything is negotiable prior to award.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. If the government says in the solicitation that the contract work has to be performed within 30 days, can you negotiate 60 days?
I would assume so.
Why would you assume that?
Because of the tone of your voice when you ask the question.
No, let's go back to the sentence. Everything is negotiable prior to award.
Yeah, so that means any terms. That means that now I did just watch the interview with you and Michael. He was one of the licensed guys, and he was like, you remember the interview with you and Michael?
Well, I talked to a lot of people, but
the guy from the miner from Nevada. Anyway,
yeah.
So yeah. You guys did. That's what made me actually text you. You guys had just covered that concept about negotiating. That was one of the things you spoke on. So yeah, that totally makes sense. That any terms within the solicitation.
That's right. So is the payment
negotiated?
Is the payment and performance protection negotiable?
Yes.
Yes, it is. Now, another question. Does the government have to negotiate with you?
No. Wait.
No.
No, they don't.
They don't. Just because something is negotiable doesn't mean they have to negotiate.
Okay, so boom, they want to award us the contract, and we say, hey, that performance payment bond thing. How about this alternative that you talking
You're
about?
exactly right, Courtney.
And then they say, sorry, we got to stand strict on this.
Not only
like,
that,
okay,
but you're reminding me of the reason that I liked you when we had that second phone call. You're quick to connect the dots, and I like that. Okay. So that's the rub. Somebody who can't qualify for bonds, they're less likely to get a contract using a tripartite escrow agreement. So normally I tell people you're typically going to win 1 in 20 federal contracts that you bid. For somebody that doesn't qualify for bonds, that number drops to around 1 in 35 to 1 in 40. It's almost half or twice as much, depending on how you look at it.
So would it make sense for me to target jobs that are less likely to be bonded, sub 150?
Sub 150, because if you go read the clause for tripartite escrow agreements, they're only good up to $150,000.
Okay.
In fact, I'll tell you a funny story. Chris McMahon, one of my clients, you'll see him. I have a video called My Favorite Zoom of All Time. And the reason I call it that is because Chris dropped into that Zoom about halfway through the video. He just dropped in. And I was like, hey, man, Chris, I used to be the number one guy that sold tripartite escrow agreements in the country. I think I've sold over 500 of them or executed over 500 of them, whatever. Chris calls me up one day and he says, hey, I need a tripartite escrow agreement for $153,500. And I said, Chris, I can't do that. They're only good up to $150,000. And I wish I knew how to record phone calls back in those days, because I'll never forget what he said. He said, you mean I have to fucking give them back $3,500 in order to make this deal happen? And I said, yeah. And he goes, motherfucker. I mean, he just started going off on all these expletives, just the vileness of having to negotiate lower instead of higher on a dollar amount. And when 3 days later, I get the request for the tripartite escrow agreement. It's for $149,999.99.
So wait, hold on. Same topic, slightly switching gears. So if I'm doing jobs that are sub 150 and not requiring bonding or right?
Yep.
That can still. Well, I guess if I was to just land 1 or 2 of these, I could be able to get my credit back in the right place. But
that's what Chris did. He was upside down with his bonding company when I met him. If you're upside down with your bonding company, can you get bonds?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And so he had heard that we had, this methodology for doing these tripartite escrow agreements. And his words when we first met were, let me understand this correctly. Are you telling me I can do millions of dollars of federal contracts with these tripartite escrow agreements? And I said, yes, there's unlimited. There is no limit to the number of jobs that you can do with tripartite escrow agreements. So he came into our program, went through the whole thing, started getting jobs, negotiating the tripartite escrow agreements. For 3 or 4 years, built his entire war chest up, paid his bonding company back, got his bonding, and then worked for another couple of years and then retired.
Okay. So let's get away from any type of bonding or tripartite escrow agreements, but still focusing on that sub 150, right?
Sure,
right?
because remember, FAR 36 says that Under $150,000, it's at the contracting officer's discretion. So there
Right.
are federal contracts out there that are under 150 grand that require no payment and performance protection, no bond.
Now, can those, as you were talking about the three things that bonding companies, surety companies look at. My
Yep.
goodness, my speech.
That's okay.
Now, let's say I'm working with you and well, not working with you, but, implementing your knowledge that you've given me for a year, and I win 6 contracts over the course of the year, and they, came, let's say I made $1 million, right?
Okay.
Maybe you probably can't do that. 150 times 6 ain't $1 million, but let's just say
I understand the concept.
Yeah. Okay. So at that point, will that can enhance my experience level, correct? To where it makes me more bondable than I was.
Correct.
Before I did any contract, even though these contracts that I completed were not bonded, there was no. It was just pretty much a contract.
That's right.
Okay. So
what that refers back to is Federal Acquisition Regulation 15.305. You got a minute to look that up?
Absolutely. One sec.
15.305. And when you get there, tell me you're there so I can guide you where I want you to go.
I'm there. Well, I'm on Google.
Okay. Click the link.
Acquisition.gov.
Okay. Now, go down to section number 2. The number 2. Okay.
The fact that you have this memorized is disgusting. Okay, I'm at number 2.
Now I want you to go down to section III.
Okay. The evaluation should take into account past performance information regarding predecessor companies, key personnel who have relevant experience, or subcontractors that will perform major or critical aspects of the requirement when such information is relevant to the instant acquisition.
Not only will your bonding company take all that into account, your contracting officers will too.
So if I'm subcontracting a guy with substantial, let's
that's
say...
right. Let's say the job is a bunch of roll-up doors, okay? And you've never done a roll-up door job, and you're using you intend to use ABC roll-up doors, you would list him in your technical proposal. They can't take his references and use them as your own, but you're telling them that here's his experience and this is who we intend to use. And that has to be taken into account during the review process.
Right. Okay, so you're saying if it's sub 150 and to the contracting officer's discretion, they say, okay, we need a bond, but prior to that, it's an RFQ. So I'm going to negotiate here, and I think what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but per this section, when I'm negotiating, it pretty much says that, hey, my guy got enough experience and and our reputation strong enough that we could complete this job. So can I negotiate this bond off of the contract?
You could. It's unlikely that they would just negotiate the bond off the contract without some other considerations, such as a tripartite escrow agreement. But let me tell you, tripartite escrow agreements, there's no requirements. I'm telling you right now, you are approved for tripartite escrow agreements.
So, okay, but I need to own a house, right?
No.
So I do own a house, but so what do I need for that?
A tripartite escrow agreement?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Oh, man. Dude, every time I talk to you, like, and you get closer and closer to my 5,000, and you keep telling me you don't want it.
I don't care about that.
But I'm like, because I guess the pieces that I'm trying to put together is, okay, these people who are the ideal client for you that are paying you the 5,000, I'm like, do I just have more of a knowledge base of how this works? Do they just kind of don't know shit about this? Or, how
that would be different for every person and what their goals are. Okay? Look, let me ask you a question. How much do you think it costs me to host some videos on the internet?
Like Zoom calls? Like the ones you send, the links
my
you send me?
my training.
I have no clue. I think you said like $25K a month.
No, that's to operate Bid Tracker. I have 2 full-time employees that work on Bid Tracker. Okay. But I'm asking you a question. If I go to the front of your house and I turn on a video camera for 28 hours straight, and then I take that video and I go on the internet and post it. Now, I'm not talking about on YouTube. I'm talking about customized hosting. But the video file itself, that 28-hour video, how much would you imagine that would cost a year to host on some space on the internet?
Oh, man. I couldn't even guess, brother.
Well, I mean, if YouTube is free, how much would the paid service be?
A few thousand, maybe?
Over a year?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. It's actually about $360 a year.
Okay. $30 a month.
Yep,
okay.
$30 a month. So let me ask you this. Why would I charge $5,000 for something that only costs me $300 a year?
The value.
Okay, let's talk about that for a second. The value. Okay? If you were me and you wanted to talk to people about federal government construction, and then I want you to think about the conversations that you and I have had up to this point.
Okay.
Do I sound engaged?
Absolutely.
Do I sound like I'm enjoying myself?
Absolutely.
Do I seem excited when I see light bulbs go off in your head?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now, I want you to consider talking to me, having a conversation with a painter in Macon, Georgia, who says, I don't know about any of this federal government construction bullshit. You know, I heard that all those guys, they just steal our tax dollars. How excited do you think I would be to have a conversation with that guy on a daily basis?
Not very.
Not very. Okay. But do you think he could afford to pay $100 for some training?
Possibly.
Possibly. Okay. At what price point do I have to set my training in order to disqualify that guy from even considering being a client of mine?
I see exactly where you're going.
See, if you charge $1,000, you have to talk to people that can only afford $1,000.
You know, I have a friend of mine who's in a musician, and he's signed to Warner Music Group. And I'm not going to switch gears too hard here, but he signed to Warner Music Group, and I just told him the same thing because he wants to. We're from a small city, and so he's not like famous, but he's pretty popular. And the president of Warner Music Group is actually his manager. So he's like, hey, you can make extra money on the side by just charging other artists who want the opportunity to get signed to meet me. So he called me because I used to do music. And he says, well, should I charge these guys? I told him 1,000. And I'm like, no, charge them 2,500 because everybody has 1,000. And they're going to ask all of these questions and they're going to be skeptical and then they're going to waste your time. So you want your number to say only serious guys.
Not only that, but here's the other side of it. If you go out and you spend $100 on something, what's the value of it?
Probably 100 or less.
That's right, 100 or less, okay? But when you spend $5,000 on something, that's an investment. And when you make an investment in something, what do you expect?
ROI, baby.
A return, exactly right. I need to set the pricing on this thing such that it hurts a little bit to get in, but then you're going to do the fucking work.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No one likes wasting time, especially someone who's done $1 billion in freaking contracts.
Now you're getting it, Courtney.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not so much about. So it seems what I'm gathering from you is if you could, you'd give this knowledge away for free.
And often I do. How many conversations have I had with you?
This is the third.
At any point in this thing, I've tried to talk you out of it.
Yeah, and so it's more about. I'm getting this. I'm understanding this. I'm starting to get your drift here.
I don't need the fucking money, but I have to charge something to where it hurts enough to get into this thing, okay? That you'll do the work, because I don't want people to fail.
But what you want even less is wasting your own damn time.
But it's not even that. Look, one could make an argument that I'm wasting my time right now talking to you. Okay? Somebody could make that argument. Particularly somebody who's skeptical and says, you need a license, you're a liar.
Right.
I know a guy like that.
Oh, come on. How many contracts I got to win to live that job? My goodness.
I enjoy these conversations, and I'm super appreciative of all the people that have come into my program, but it's because of that and because of the career I had and the life choices I've made that I can have the time to do whatever I want with. And when I see an interesting question, I can pick up the phone and call some retard on the internet because I Googled his phone number, okay?
Oh my God.
And because of the choices that I've made in my life, I have the freedom to do that. But as you said earlier in this conversation, it's quite obvious that I'm passionate about this and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's not about wasting my time. Fuck, I'll call 100 people randomly. I'm going to pick their brain. That's why in the first conversation with you, I was like, well, what do you do? Because if you tell me what you do, I can decide for myself, is this the kind of person I would even want to work with?
Exactly.
Because people get to qualify me in the videos. They get to make up their own decisions. Okay?
Right.
But the conversations that I end up having with people, I don't know if you noticed, you can't just go to my website and buy my shit.
Exactly.
Okay? Because I won't let that happen. I don't want somebody coming into my program buying my shit because I don't know them and I don't know if I want to work with them. This is my opportunity to decide if I want to work with you.
So it seems that your thing is that you've, pretty much found a loophole in the system and you're trying and you milked it and you're like, dude, there's so much more for so many more people. Just And you're just trying to just pretty much share the wealth, share the knowledge.
That's why people get on these calls with me and I go, hey, how many clients do you think I have? And they go, oh, thousands, right? Because I'm on the fucking internet, so it must be thousands, right?
Right.
I've taught this to 150 guys.
Right. So okay, now I'm about 85% done with my general contractor's course and for Michigan. And I've gotten so busy that I haven't been able to finish it. And I guess my question to you is, if my goal is to build up to what you're teaching, right? Should I even continue to get my GC?
Okay, I want you to go back to FAR 15.305.
I'm here.
Read the first sentence out loud.
Proposal evaluation. A?
Yep.
Proposal evaluation is an assessment of...
No. 2 I.
Oh, okay. The evaluation should take into account past performance information regarding predecessor companies, key personnel who have relevant experience, or subcontractors that will perform major or critical.
That first part said key personnel, past performance and key personnel, right?
Yes.
Okay. I have never had a license, a general contractor's license of any kind. Okay. But what experience, how much better is your proposal going to look if you tell them I'm a registered general contractor, a licensed general contractor in the state of Michigan? So,
right.
So look, I don't have that. I've never had that. I've still gotten tons of federal contracts. So I'm not going to say it's needed. Okay. So the answer,
it can't hurt.
All education can't hurt.
Right.
I'll never forget my wife. My wife grew up as a very poor Mexican girl in Mexico. Okay. Started her life in West Texas, but then they moved to Mexico. But anyway, what life experiences outside of that do you think she had the opportunity to play in? Almost none, right? You think she's been to, I don't know, the Bahamas and gone scuba diving?
Right. I know what you mean.
Probably not, right?
Right.
Well, I had all the life experiences that you could imagine. I was raised with a silver fucking spoon in my mouth by a guy who was doing federal contracts all over the country and in some different parts of the world when I was growing up. Had every advantage you could ever fucking imagine that a piece of shit kid like that could have. Okay?
Okay.
And so when we got together, we bought this big house, massive house. Had one of those huge bathtubs. I mean, that you could fit fucking 4 people in there. And I had scuba equipment in the garage. And she asked me about it one day. And I said, oh, this is fun. Here, put this mask on, stick this regulator in your mouth, and put your head underwater in the bathtub. But the moment that she did that, I grabbed the back of her head and shoved it to the bottom of the bathtub and held her there, forcing her to breathe out of this thing. And she panicked. I mean, 100,000% panic. And I kept holding her there until she calmed down and realized she was breathing underwater. And when she came up, we've laughed about it over the years. I'm sure she called me a shithead, asshole, or every other word on the planet. But
something with the word pinche.
Yeah, something with the word pinche.
Pinche cabrón.
I get called that on a daily basis. But look, all of a sudden she wanted to go to a scuba class. And I said, Elda, not only will I pay for you to go to a scuba class, I'll tell you this. I don't care if you ever do scuba in your life after you go through the class. Go get the education and decide if you want to do any of it or none of it. It doesn't matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
And our entire relationship has been that way. Hey, Elda, go take this class. Get the education. Learn about what things that interest you. I don't care if you do anything with it or nothing with it. And not only that, but if you watch enough of my videos, you'll come across where both my dad and I publicly say that our GCExperts workshop is the best business training you will ever get, whether you ever do a federal contract or not. That's a hell of a bold statement.
Yeah, it is, because by me already being involved in a lesser version of what you do, I tell people before I met you, okay, before you open my eyes to this next level of what I already do, I have been telling people for the last I've been doing this 2.5 years, and I've been telling people this is the best business model in existence. There's nothing out there better than this. So there's not like this. I don't have any doubt about what you're teaching me. I'm not skeptical. That was removed my first phone call. That's why
you. I wanted you. My wife just walked in. I wanted you to repeat what you had said earlier about when I stuck her head under the water.
Oh! You wanted me to repeat it?
Yeah, what she likely said when she came up.
She probably called you a pinche cabrón.
It's a lot stronger than that, but yes.
Or a pendejo or something like that. Yeah. I only know the bad words.
Those are the ones that matter.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Wow. So, oh man, Sean, it's not that it's overwhelming. It's because it's not like this super difficult concept for me to understand these things that you're teaching me. Because I already have a basic understanding of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's just kind of accepting that what I already deemed as great is only like good or average, and it's like, okay, so I don't want to say I've been wasting my time these last couple of years because I learned so much, but it's like I've been having the ability to play in the majors, and I'm just kind of, playing pro-am here.
It's because of every single one of us is limited to our experiences in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
You talk to a kid from South Alabama, he sounds like a kid from South Alabama. You talk to a kid from East LA, he sounds like New York. Why do they sound that way? Because they're a product of their environment.
Yeah.
Okay. The only reason that's why I made such a big deal the other night when we first talked is that we're the same level of smartness. Okay? It has nothing to do with being stupid or being smart. It has
to do with that experience.
It's the experiences.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I got a good memory, man. I'll be listening. To what you say. I want to, I told you, my daughter lives in Allen.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if I mess around and look you up and find your address. Yeah, remember me? You found me? Yeah. Yeah. Tables turned. Where are we going to lunch at? What's up? But I'm actually, I have a 3-hour road trip ahead of me. So I am going to let you go. But
okay.
I had one more.
Go ahead.
I have one more question in conclusion, and it's just to reiterate on something. What did you say that was called the alternative to the bond? It was called a
tripartite escrow agreement. I'm happy to send you my script for that. and how that whole thing works. But I do want to add one more thing to this conversation as well, and that is, I have texted you from this phone number, and it was actually in a reply to your text to me, so I should be in your text messages. I sent you a video. I can't remember. I think it's a 20 or 30-minute video. It's not me.
The
It's
Claude bot?
correct.
Yes. Yep.
I want you to pay attention to that video, and then I want to have a conversation with you about what you see.
Okay.
I don't. We can do it tomorrow or next week. I don't care when, but
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'll watch that, and I'll watch the video that you sent. You said it's your favorite.
Oh, my favorite Zoom of all time. Yeah, that's a good one.
I got that one yesterday. Oh, and lastly, I got one yesterday that said from sharecropper roots to prime contractor.
Yeah, that guy was a really nice guy.
Well, if you click the link, it says no video available. I clicked it like 4 times. That was the only one that said.
Well, I'll see if I just text me that. I remember that guy. I'll find that video and see if I can't get you a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a really nice guy. His I think his parents were sharecroppers, and it was either his parents or his grandparents, but maybe his mom or something focused on education, and he grew up and went to Washington D.C. and became an intern for some congressmen. I mean, he was a really interesting guy. Yeah.
Wow, dude, I'm so impressed with you, bro. I'm not gonna lie, no, you're rare breed. You're rare breed, and I think you know that, and I think you walk and exist in that, and that's really cool. I will be watching these videos and reaching out to you, and following up. And I just thank you for continuing to extend that. I thank you for correcting this asshole. and redirecting this asshole, no, I'm serious, because and I'm grateful for being an asshole, because if I would have come on there and been maybe more polite, I probably wouldn't have provoked a response. If I would have came on there and not been he's lying and being direct, and I'm not calling you an asshole, but you certainly speak the language, okay? You certainly took that class too, okay? Like you said, all education, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But no, seriously, man, I thank you so much. Nothing that you're saying is falling on deaf ears. Day to day, I still have clients who do what I've been, previously doing. So I can't just jump out of there. I have so many bids due, but every time I do a bid now, since we've spoken that second time, it's like, it's starting to feel like almost a waste of time. It's like, dude, I could be doing this on the federal level and be making 10 times this much. Okay, so now I'm setting up timelines as far as where do I start? Not necessarily tapering away from my current clients, because I love these guys and they've become personal friends. But as far as expanding, now I have to find time to start just diving in more. You know what I mean? And really, watching your videos, that's the same way I got into this, was watching testimonials and Zoom calls and stuff like that. And, if he can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. And then the details that you give them and the things you have them look up. And then I pause the video and look it up on my own time. And, that's how I learned how to do this. I never bought a course, so with you, it's like, I've never met someone who sells courses that's trying to convince me not to buy the course. It's crazy.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just watch that video and then get back in touch with me later and let's talk about it.
Yes, sir. My best wishes. Thank you, brother.
Bye-bye.